Welcome to another episode of Out of the Pods. I'm Deepti.
And I'm Natalie. And happy Wednesday. I have not said happy Wednesday in such a long time.
Now, we're happy even though we're wearing black.
We're wearing all black today because, unfortunately, Perfect Match is coming out this Friday, June 7th. And we're not looking forward to recapping, but we will recap for you guys, for our pod besties, the ones who will be watching, ones of you who refuse to watch. We will be recapping for you. So stay tuned. Next week is our recap of Perfect Match Season 2.
We'll recap so you don't have to watch it.
Exactly.
I love that.
We're really taking one for you guys.
Yes. Can I tell you, before coming here, I was trying to put a necklace on and my nails are so long, I literally can't.
Actually, do you remember that one time we were going to an event and I brought a bracelet down and I was like, I can't put this on myself. Can you do it? Watching you try to put on this bracelet with your nails literally made me want to throw up.
I don't even have that long of nails. Well, right now they're long and I haven't gotten them
She
done,
tried like 4 times and I was like, I could just do it. It's okay. Like I was like, I don't have to wear this bracelet either. And she's like, I got it. Probably 20 minutes.
Okay. It was 2 minutes. 2 minutes
it felt
feels like 20.
Watching you struggle and her nails were like clicking together and I was like, oh, I'm gonna
it's like
literally vomit. I was like, I'm gonna
Usually
vomit.
I don't even have long nails because these are my natural nails. But
they are?
Yeah, these are natural. They're not fake.
Oh!
I have really good
nail beds?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say
strong nails.
I do calcium. I have a lot of calcium in my body.
Oh my gosh, I don't do long nails. I think they look beautiful and I wish I could.
Yeah.
But then like, how do people like type on computers? Like, how do you wash your hair? Like when you scrub into your scalp?
Long. Right now, they're kind of long because you guys, let me just tell you, I hate going to the nail salon, but I love the look of a French nail. But I literally...
Oh, what a first world problem.
Dude, I hate sitting in that chair. You have access to nothing. I'm just like, trapped.
No, I don't like going to
hours.
nail salons either.
Yeah.
I use Dazzle Dry.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Oh my goodness. So the reason why I hate going to nail salons is first, like typically when I go, I get a gel manicure. Mm-hmm. And then you know how you can't like remove a gel manicure or it takes a really long time on your own and and then I typically go back to the nail salon to get it removed and they do like the whole like scraping thing, like or filing thing, whatever. Well, Dazzle Dry acts like regular nail polish, so you could remove it with just like acetone or nail polish remover. Mm-hmm. But it stays on for a really long time and it also dries very quickly.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I've been looking
That was not an ad. That was like for real. Like I highly recommend Dazzle Dry.
Dazzle Dry, if you're listening, let us know. No, but honestly, I think I need to like switch over to like press-ons. I just need to do that. And then I can just pop them right off and just done,
Oh, I do love press-ons too.
Yeah.
I've tried it once, but have you ever gotten a hair stuck in between your press-ons?
I've never done a press-on in my life.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm like, should I just convert over? But I don't know. I just love a good French tip. It's just one of my faves. Don't look at them right now because they're so bad right now.
Why do you like French tips so much?
It just looks classy and I can match it with anything. If I do a color, then like it clashes with my outfit.
But what about a little neutral or nude color? Like I always do like a very pale white or pink.
See, you can do that, but I have darker skin tone. So it just looks like I don't know. I do love a clean aesthetic too sometimes, but...
Sorry, you know when you have this memory that pops up in your head?
Yes.
And you're just like, you cringe at it?
Yeah, what?
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking, this just like popped up in my head, swear to God. So remember all that drama surrounding my wedding day on Love is Blind?
No, I completely forgot. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, let me explain. So you know how like 2 days prior to my wedding day is when I decided to say no and like production freaked out. They're like, what the heck? And they were like trying to convince me to say yes.
They're like, we're banking on you.
So I was very distraught, like to the point where the day Shane and I got into a fight, we had to go to City Hall to get our marriage license. Oh, and I ran away from production. Like they didn't tell me we were going there. I ended up there and they're like, we got to wait in line. And I was like, why? And they're like, oh, we're just going to get the marriage license. Like,
they
just
tricked
in case.
you into it.
Tricked me into getting my marriage license. But they're like, hey, we need it for the show just in case you change your minds. Like in case you decide to sign it on your wedding day. And I was like, fuck this. So I literally ran from my producers. But I'm just trying to set the stage in that I was like extremely distraught about the fact that everything just blew up. So I had like pinkish colored nails.
I was waiting for how the connection comes in.
I had pinkish colored nails and my producers all loved my nail color. It was like 3 coats of OPI's bubble bath. It's like this very like nude pinkish color. And on my wedding day, I got a manicure the night before and they were like this very light white color.
Yeah. I gasped because I feel like they thought.
Producers were like, I'm so distraught on my wedding day. And they're like, wait, when did you have time to get a manicure? Because they're like, what?
They're like, are you saying yes? Is that why?
Yeah. Because I'm so distraught. I was ignoring their phone calls the day before. I was like, I can't see anyone. But I still had time to get a manicure because it was TV. I was like, you know what? On my fake wedding day, even though I'm saying no, I'm gonna try to look good, even though it was literally the worst I've ever looked. Like I was like, what was this makeup and hair? But everyone kept questioning. They're like, and they asked me like 20 times. They're like, Natalie, when did you get your manicure done? When did you change your nail color? And I remember like cringing in between cries, being like,
you're like, well,
my mom did them.
That is so funny that you say that because I had absolutely no time to get my nails done. So they probably look like this a little bit, and I'm just kidding. But
a little grown out.
Can I just tell you, because I put henna on my hands, and it brushed off onto my nails. I had absolutely no time to get them done. So on national TV on my wedding day, I had orangish nails. And I was cringing so hard. I was like trying to hide it so badly. I was like, this is so embarrassing.
You're like, I choose myself, and you tuck in your nails.
Yeah,
You're
I'm like, well. But honestly, I didn't start getting my nails done until after that moment. I saw it. I was like, yep, I gotta be like on top of this.
I mean, you know what? I realized like those details, like you never notice on TV anyways. But I remember being like, I need to get my nails done.
Yeah. Same.
And no, literally it was such a cringe moment because I would be crying in front of the cameras and they'd be like, Natalie, when did you get your manicure changed? Or like, when did you get your like colors changed over? And I was like, why are they asking me this? Like, I think they wanted it to like be a moment for TV as if like I changed my mind or I was pretending to be so distraught because I had time to get my nails done.
Yeah.
And I was like avoiding it. I was like, anyways, can I tell you about the night again?
You're like,
like the fight? I was like, ask me about the fight.
Don't get your hopes up because no, I just wanted to look good.
No, seriously. I was like, look, I know I've been sad, but I was like, this is
not
a TV
sad
show.
Enough to get my nails done, okay?
I was like, look, I gotta look kind of good on TV. It's my last scene.
It's my last scene.
Anyways.
That's funny.
Speaking about Love is Blind, a few weeks ago, there was an article titled, Is Love is Blind a Toxic Workplace? Published by The New Yorker. And it was a long but extremely interesting read because not only do they include experiences of cast members, but they actually cite production staff as well. And some of the names of these production staff members were familiar to Deepti and I. And so, I don't know, just to see their name again and like what they had to say about their experiences on the show was like extremely eye-opening for I think the both of us, honestly. And I think this article really, it gave credibility to Love is Blind cast members who talk about the very toxic environment, which is the Love is Blind set. And one of the things I think really stood out to me is the producer and cast member relationship, because we've talked about this on the past, you know, how close you were with your producer and how I had a difficult relationship with mine. But one of the things that was highlighted in this article is how producers need to play different roles to manipulate cast members. Yeah.
No, I find it so fascinating, the relationship between a producer and somebody who's casted for a show, because it's extremely vulnerable. And I don't know, like we've talked about it before, like obviously my producer and I were really close, but it makes me like question things after reading this article, because not only did they cite cast members who went through a really hard time, but they cited like crew and some producers who were on the show, but not at such a high level that they had much power. It was more like, hey, like I observed certain things, but I really couldn't say much in the moment. So I'm like, I don't know. One thing I appreciated about this article is also it humanized them as well as the cast, if that makes sense.
So we recognize the name in this article, JP Paul, who is a producer Deepti and I personally know because he worked on our season of Love is Blind along with other seasons of Love is Blind as well. Yeah. But he was cited in this article explaining that producers have to embody different personas when working with the cast. So on Love is Blind, he said he was hired as a specialist in working with difficult cast members. And he says his role was being like a bro or a dad figure, which made male cast members comfortable sharing their confusion about women, like confiding in JP. But he also knew how to get female contestants to open up and cry because he knew the right questions to ask. And so I think about like my interactions with JP. Mm-hmm. He obviously wasn't my producer, but kind of all the producers like did talk to all the cast members at some point during filming. And I remember with him, he would give me a hug and be like, everything's going to be okay. Like everything's going to be all right. And I was like, how is this supposed to make me feel?
Yeah. Honestly, now that I'm thinking back on it, he was very, very present with all of our storylines. And I remember him coming to me and talking to me about Shake all the time.
Same with the Shane stuff.
Yeah.
Like I would pretend like Shane and I had a great relationship in front of the cameras. And I think that producers actually knew that we were kind of like faking how great our relationship was, and like behind the scenes it wasn't that great. So I think that's why JP gave me that hug.
Yeah.
And I was kind of taken aback being like, why is he saying this to me? Yeah. But it did put the thought in my head, like maybe I can trust it. Maybe I can confide into him later.
Yeah. No, I think it was so interesting. And one of the things that really stood out to me in the article was, this is what was said: your producers seemed like friends or therapists, sharing private jokes, guiding you through choices, hinting at love or future fame. They knew everything about you, having been filled in on your psychological makeup and having read your journal each night. And that freaked me out.
It.
No, we knew it.
I knew that they read my journal.
Yes.
Well, Ayana found out that her producer took photos of her journal.
Oh, it makes sense to me because they're like, I can't sit here and read all this. I'm going to take it
journal.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And because they look through all of our belongings at the very beginning. When we leave, we didn't have our hotel key rooms. They had access to our hotel because I think just like you, I had a personal journal that I kept in the room.
Same.
And then the notebook that they gave us on set. Right. But I think honestly, when you have the power to be in someone's mind like that, especially when you're so vulnerable and like filming a TV show, it's new territory completely. I think you have to handle that with great responsibility. And in the wrong hands, it's extremely detrimental to someone's mental health. Yeah. And I feel like some people, aka producers from the show, like they had too much power. And, you know, I've said this so many times on the podcast, but I was very close with my producer.
You called her your therapist.
Yes, exactly. Which is so interesting to me that they like highlighted some of that in this article. But yeah, she was my therapist because like I couldn't go to my friends. They did not understand what was happening. And half of them, I couldn't even tell them what was happening. My family, like I just wanted to protect them and like not make them worry. And then you guys, like my other castmates, I was like, so weary of you because I'm like
100%. We all talked. We all had the ability to talk shit about each other in front of the camera.
Exactly, and not that I was even thinking that, but I was like, why am I? They're going
which
through
I was
their
victim
own,
to.
I was like, you're going through your own experience. I don't need to like boggle you guys down with that. But like, I think yes, I did create such close friendships with my crew and producer. But at the same time, I think it's naive of me to think they loved me so much that they showed me compassion when it came to my storyline. I think had things been different and like my ex-fiance was like incredible, like you just never know what the outcome would have been. So I think it's a little bit naive of me to think that like it all went that way because I'm a good person and yada, yada. No, it just fit into the storyline. And I'm so thankful for that. But when it comes to like your situation, it's so much harder. You had so much more conflict navigating through the filming of the show because the relationship with your producer and your crew is so important. And if it's not on good terms, there's just no way that it's going to be a peaceful journey for you, you know, going through it.
And you're so scared. You're like, what's the right move?
Yeah.
I think ultimately for me, I'm like, I'm not going to say or do what my producer is asking me to say or do because I'm going to protect my relationship.
Yeah.
And I like refuse to like play into the game. Yeah. Like, I don't know. You kind of just see like, oh, they're trying to like manipulate me.
Yeah.
And it sucks because like not everyone on our cast, you could tell, like viewed their producers that way. Like some of them got like you got really, really close with their producers. But I think for you, again, it was very easy.
It was so easy
for them to be your best friend because you were with someone who was, you know, a little bit put a lot out there, like and
it was easy to make him the villain and me the good guy because that's just how it like the storyline played so perfectly into that.
But I think about like other people, I don't know, even Shayna, you know, I remember her having a really close relationship with her producer, and she like, I think when she was about to do something, she would get validation from her producer and they're like, that's a good idea, like you should say that. And I remember having a conversation with Shayna during filming and be like, hey, I think we're both getting played. Yeah. And I was like, don't do that. Don't say that. Yeah. You know, like, what are you doing? And, you know, she ultimately, I think, kind of did what her producer kind of validated her to do.
Which honestly, I don't fault her for, because I think it's like you're in such new territory. It's hard.
Yeah. Especially if you're a people pleaser.
Yes. And it's so hard to do the right thing in the moment because you're like, I have no idea. Like, how all of this works, and it's like it's such a power play in place.
You guys are loving Bays as much as we do, so we had to share it again because this brand has over 30,000 5-star reviews. Like, that is so crazy to me, but it is really like the it bag of this year, in my opinion. It's all over social media. Every influencer I know and follow has Bays bags and luggages, which I'm not going to lie, surprised me a little bit because all of their bags, luggages, and accessories are affordable. And I cannot rave about my Weekender bag enough. I just got another one in black to match my airport aesthetic. You know, because it's affordable. So why not? I also let my sister borrow it all the time.
I have the Weekender bag too, and I think I love their luggage more, actually. Bays has thought of everything you could ever want in a piece of luggage: a cushion handle, built-in weight indicator, washable bags for your dirty clothes, and all the interior pockets you need to keep organized. Every piece is made to look better with miles, so you don't have to worry about it in the cargo or the overhead.
So right now, Bays is offering our listeners 15% off your first purchase by visiting baystravel.com/outofthepods. Go to baystravel.com/outofthepods for 15% off your first purchase.
That's BEIS travel.com/outofthepods. One thing I did find really interesting though, and I think it kind of humanized production and crew for me a little bit, because I think at the end of the day, you think about it and they're doing a job. Like at the end of the day, the show comes first over any personal relationship that they have 100%. With a cast member.
Yeah.
And so I think about it in a different way after reading this article, because I'm like, oh, like I kind of get it.
From their perspective.
Yeah, because there's a chain of command in place. There's also like, you know, they're trying to do the best they can. They're trying to support families. They're trying to make money. This is like a freelance job for them. I don't know if it's a freelance job, but like it's a job at the end of the day for them. And
I think for most of them, it is a freelance job, because I was thinking about it. I'm friends with another influencer who used to be based here in Chicago, and she was on an HBO show. And as I was talking to her, I realized that the producers from our season of Love is Blind also worked on her show.
Yeah.
And it made me think like, okay, if you're a good producer in that you could connect with your cast members, get a really good storyline, bring a lot of drama from your cast members that you're assigned to, like that's how you get onto other shows. Someone like recommends you and be like, they're really good at like helping produce a storyline, like manipulate, you know, cast members. And so I remember reading somewhere, maybe it was from the Bachelor franchise, where producers like says in this article, and I'm probably quoting it wrong, but this producer is like, they're not like people, they're like things, like cast members are just things really to us.
Yeah. Which, okay, that's exactly
like it's just a job.
Yeah. That really was fascinating to me, because because from a human psychology perspective, I wonder how producers do what they do. So JP was quoted in the article quite a bit, but like one thing that he said was, a producer's job is to bond with cast members while savvily exploiting conflicts among them, turning raw emotion into story beats. And he also said, but I don't think that's so easy because they are human too and have emotions. And then went on to say compartmentalization was key.
In his mind.
Which that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
you
100%.
have to. Again, you want to have a good performance review. Like you said, you want good recommendations for other shows if you want to stay in this business.
Yeah.
And I'm just, wow. It's very fascinating to me.
Well, there's another thing that was kind of crazy that I read in this article. So it was about production really dismissing contestants' general well-being. In the article, it said that JP told Renee Poche that she couldn't stop filming even though she wanted to call off her wedding. So if you guys don't remember, Renee is from Love is Blind season 5. She was actually part of the main cast and was asked to do Perfect Match season 2, but last minute, like a month before season 5 came out, she was told that her engagement and all the scenes after were going to be completely cut from the season, and she was obviously dropped from Perfect Match season 2. And she was also on our podcast talking about her horrible experience filming, including production forcing her to film with her very verbally abusive and aggressive partner, Carter Wall. So this article really confirmed to me that Renee was truthful. In the article, there were 8 crew members who shared that Renee was so well liked, they thought she was going to be the breakout star of season 5. Yeah. Like, she was going to be a Deepti of season 2, okay? And they pretty much confirmed that Carter was a racist, bigoted hillbilly with anger issues.
Yeah.
So, and it got so bad between Renee and Carter that their team said that they would never leave the couple alone because Carter was so aggressive with Renee. Like, that is so fucked up.
No, it's very scary. And it's like
that they wouldn't let her stop filming when she was like, I'm done, I'm calling off the wedding. They're like, nope.
Exactly. And also that kind of proves that, yeah, Renee is scared, but like some of the crew members are also scared because if they described him like that, why are you continuing to put people in harm's way?
No, I know. The fact that they said that they realized this and then they decided to never leave the couple alone together. I was like,
red flag.
Then like, what? So you like kind of force them to continue filming for the show.
Yeah.
There was also another crew member in the article whose job was to write down summaries from the live audio feed.
Yeah.
She said there was a time where Renee and Carter fought over him using slurs and stealing from another cast members, and it got really bad. And that crew member logged the fight, like in her summary. And JP, who was Renee and Carter's producer, asked that crew member to remove it from her summary. So it's like, now you're hiding shit.
Exactly. I think reading that part was very scary to me because of the intention behind it.
Yeah.
And it's like, what other unethical things went on behind our backs? Because if that's one that that was just somebody who was very, very like brave to speak up and say, this is what happened and this is what I did. But I just wonder what else happened behind closed doors. Like, are they removing evidence or like, not that it would ever be evidence, but I'm just saying like, those are
like you're downplaying.
Logs.
If you're asking to remove a fight, it was probably pretty bad where you didn't want any evidence that it happened.
Exactly. And that the intention behind that is so scary because what else has happened? And that makes me like question everything from our show. And I'm like kind of sickened by it because I'm like, you read all of our personal journals, our diaries, everything. Was there like hidden cameras all over? Like, were there microphones everywhere when you guys weren't actually around? And it's such an invasion of privacy. But again, we did sign a contract.
I know. That's the thing. It's like, hey, we did sign a contract and like, I acknowledge this, but I think like reading this article, it made me realize like, you know, just because we signed a contract doesn't mean that when we want to like leave filming, we should be like forced to say, especially when you've got people from the production staff saying like, this was a dangerous situation for a cast member. And yeah, it sucks. The crazy thing is when I was reading this, I remember when we did our interview with Renee on Out of the Pods, there was some of the people who listened who were like, oh, she's lying. She's just mad because she didn't get her 15 minutes of fame. She was cut from the show. She's making this up. Like, this big production company would never do this. But you've got literally 8 crew members who are confirming like this is what happened. I mean, like, We just like, there's so much to it. It sucks because it's like, I think some people who are just like viewers of the show, like it's hard for them to like comprehend like
the complexities.
Yeah, like this happened on set.
Yeah. Also, you can't sit here and like judge anyone on it because at the end of the day, production and crew are also just hired employees. I really blame the executives and the people who are higher up because it's their responsibility. Like, is there an HR department? Like, is there like, who's holding anyone accountable for anything? You know, I don't know. Okay, but speaking of contracts, Renee has like an ongoing lawsuit right now, and the lawyers that are working on it, one of the lawyers said this that like really stood out to me. He said, there are people signing contracts that aren't just illegal, they void the entire contract itself. So essentially they're trying to void the contract for her. Like, I don't know. I won't get into all those details. Yeah. But I just found that so interesting. And I'm like, there's like so many loopholes in what we signed. So I don't know. It's
crazy because look, I feel like I'm very much like a realist, and I know.
Yeah, you definitely are a realist.
There's like that other side of like, oh, we signed the contract. We kind of, you know.
Yeah.
We knew but didn't know what we were signing up for. I think what really sucks outside of the contract is when you hear stories of cast members wanting to leave where they feel like their well-being was put on the line and their mental health.
Yeah.
And they just can't.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if someone wants to leave, let them leave. Yeah, I think it is public knowledge at this point. There's that $50,000 fine if you want to go.
Yeah.
But then let them go. I remember on my wedding day, I was thinking about that fine and be like, I'll pay it. Yeah. But I still couldn't leave. Like, it was just like impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like, you know, I was in such a unique position where I was like, I didn't even think about that stuff. I was just like, I'm just going to get through this. And it's not till you're watching the show back, or not even then. It's not until you're like a year past everything, 2 years past everything, that you sit down and you retrospect, talk to other reality stars. And then you're like, you're totally right. I was not treated fairly. And that's when it all like starts to kick in. Because in the moment you're like, just getting by. You're just getting through. You have no idea what to expect. It's a completely new, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was interesting.
We wanted to pause here to let you know that this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Can you believe that it is already June? This year is flying by. Deepti, I actually want to ask you this. So what's something you're proud of in 2024 so far, or what's something you still want to accomplish this year?
I think I'm most proud that I'm so much more kind to myself this year than last year. That was one of my goals, to set better personal boundaries, take care of myself and my mental health, and really learn to love my body and acknowledge how grateful I am for it. And I feel like I've made so much progress.
I love that. And that was one of my goals too, to be kinder to myself and strive to be a more confident person. Therapy has been so helpful in helping me take stock in my progress and help me achieve these goals for the next 6 months. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online too, so it's convenient, flexible, and can be suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge.
Take a moment, visit betterhelp.com/outofthepods today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/outofthepods. I like this article a lot though, because I think as a former cast member of Love is Blind, you know, you never see it from the viewpoint of a production staff member and what they're thinking, what they observe, what they have to do.
Yeah.
So really recommend this article.
Yeah.
We were also cited in it.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I don't remember the exact thing, but I don't think it was very
it was interesting. It was like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, it was like I was like, I didn't know what to take from it, but regardless, I think it was interesting, like seeing a producer that we know talking about what he has to do and what he also psychologically goes through when being a producer for this show.
Yeah. Wait, can I read you one last thing that I found that like tied the whole article together? So the writer of the article, her name is Emily Nussbaum. This is what she left us with, and I really liked it. She said, "This is the nature of all reality shows. However delightful they may be to watch, the power lies with those who design the experiment, who have thousands of hours of footage of cast members, often drunk or confessing to highly personal stories, which the company owns and is allowed to air or not air at any time it likes and in any order. The cast members have some choices of their own. They can play up the producers, resist them, or try to work around them. Like gamblers in Vegas, everyone has a system, but the house always wins."
Ooh, I was like, wow. Ooh, that personally impacted me. Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
Right?
Especially that line that says like the cast members have some choices of their own. They can play up to the producers, resist them, or try to work around them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about my experience. That's exactly what I struggled with.
Yes.
Like I was resisting them half the time. And ultimately, in my opinion, a vendetta was developed against me by the entire production team because I wouldn't do or say certain things.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it kind of bit me in the ass, especially in ATA.
Yeah, but at least you have pride in knowing that you didn't like waver from your boundaries and change who you are as a person to fit right into like their narrative that they're trying to create. So I'm proud of you for that.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
No, really. I think it's a great accomplishment.
But I do think about it like the house always wins.
The house always wins. They have the power.
Person with the footage who was able to edit footage, ask cast members to say certain things about you because, you know, everyone is looking out for themselves.
Everyone's, it's a tough arena to be in, dude. But okay.
Good thing we only did one season of it.
No, okay. That brings me to my next like topic subject. So have you seen the 3-part reunion finale of Vanderpump Rules?
No, but it is all over my social media pages. So I've definitely seen the clips, like especially on TikTok.
Yes. Okay. So for those who don't know what Vanderpump is, Google it. No, it's a reality TV show on Bravo. It essentially just follows employees of SUR, and you know, there's just a bunch of drama going on with the whole cast. But they are on season 11.
Yeah, they just completed season 11 last week.
So I think the interesting part about it is the fact that, you know, you and I were on one season of a reality TV show. It's not reoccurring cast. But what fascinates me about Vanderpump Rules is that they have been on our screens for over 11 years, right?
So crazy.
And
can you imagine being on reality TV for 11 years?
No, I think that would change my entire personality.
It's so crazy that they've been on reality TV for 11 years. And the fact that some of the cast have spent their entire 20s into their 30s, some of them into their 40s, being on this show and just like having their lives dissected by the public.
Yeah. Like most of their adult life, they've been doing this show. Like I can't even imagine how that impacts your psyche. Watching this reunion and then on top of that, reading the New Yorker article, I realized just how deep the relationships with producer and cast, like how deep it can go. And I just realized like watching the reunion, I feel like the cast broke a fourth wall. And by fourth wall, I mean they brought in the internet, like people's comments online, I don't know, articles, like I don't like they're just,
and they started talking about like how they need a new season, paychecks, how, you know, they rely on the longevity of the show.
Exactly.
I saw clips
That's
on TikTok,
why I consider that the fifth wall, because honestly, talking about that takes away from the magic of the show. Do you remember when producers on our season would be like, hey, like, you guys don't reveal the magic of the show? And I kind of understand what they mean.
And I remember being like, what magic?
Yeah.
I was like, what am I, a magician here?
And you got, for those who don't understand what that means, it's essentially being like, don't talk too much about the behind the scenes of what happens on a show.
Meanwhile, here at Love is
dun dun dun.
Here on Out of the Pods.
No, but honestly, okay, so the reunion, they started talking about how like if certain conversations didn't happen or if certain people didn't step up to the plate, then they're not going to have a paycheck for next season, not even have a next season, you know?
I know. Those are the clips I saw from this reunion of Vanderpump Rules about how they start talking about like having the next season, getting that paycheck. Why is she getting paid if she's unwilling to do this in front of the cameras? And it did from my point of view, of someone who doesn't watch Vanderpump Rules that often, but has obviously heard of the show, have seen some episodes, it really did take that authenticity away from me.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I think makes the show different from someone, again, who doesn't watch it very often, but like kind of knows the reputation and what people are saying about the show, is that like this is a true, real friend group. All the drama is real. But I feel like when one of the cast members, Lala, talked about how her livelihood is based on the longevity of the show having another season, and that's why they need to, you know, have certain conversations on camera. I mean, it took away from like
the authenticity of the show.
Like, you guys are really just doing this for a paycheck, and this actually might not be real drama.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so proud of Ariana for not like wavering from her boundaries. Even though the show might be at risk, at least she stayed true to herself. And it's not her responsibility to make sure everyone else on the cast can still get their paycheck. Like, that's on them.
Yeah.
And just how the relationships go. And I think she was the truest one. Her and Katie were the best ones on that show. I might be a little biased but I love them. But I think the crazy thing about this finale was the fact that they broke that fourth wall and that strategy was talked about and the magic was unveiled. And I think that's why this is the end of the show, I feel like.
I couldn't imagine just like having that pressure and having my paycheck be tied to like a longevity of the show. Because we did only one season of Love is Blind, and we knew it was just going to be one season. We knew we weren't going to be on a second season afterward. We already knew we weren't going to do another reality TV show most likely. And so I think it was kind of like, we're going to kind of like protect ourselves or make sure we kind of get the best edit possible, and not in an inauthentic way, but like there was nothing on the line for us to give everything.
Yeah.
While for this cast, they rely on the money that they make from Vanderpump Rules. I mean, we had corporate jobs when we were filming Love is Blind. So like we didn't have to rely on shit.
Exactly. And that's the same with like Housewives too. It's like if you don't have an interesting enough storyline, you're not going to come back for the next season. So I feel like it's a lot of pressure for people to put on an act or to act like their life is so like has so much drama in it. You know what I mean? So which can lead to some like not authentic moments.
Well, speaking about Housewives, there was an article about the Real Housewives about how the reason why some housewives get mad at like very innocent comments is because they're like, we know we have to bring the drama to be asked back for the next season. Same with Vanderpump Rules. So Sheena, one of the cast members of Vanderpump Rules, she did not get a very good edit at the reunion. I mean, it was really just her actions.
Yeah.
But she said on her podcast recently that she was really pissed at the producers because they actually had a mid-season meeting saying that if Ariana and Tom Sandoval didn't reconcile, that they would cancel next season. So she was like, she essentially panicked. And so that's why she comes off looking like a really bad friend.
Yeah.
How she's forcing Ariana and Tom to reconcile, even though Tom cheated on Ariana with her best friend. If you guys aren't familiar, it's like a fucking shit show.
First of all, if you're such a seasoned like cast member, you should know that like threats from production like that are manipulation. They should know better.
I don't think so. I think she really thought of it of like it might actually get canceled. And like, you know, I rely on this show. My family relies on this show. Her husband also films the show with her.
Yeah, she's thinking of herself.
Yeah, really thinking about herself. And it shows like the complexities of, you know, a reality TV show. Like, it's really for the paycheck, and they're willing to throw away friendships for that paycheck.
Yeah. And I wonder all the time, especially with Housewives, I feel like they don't even like hang out unless it's during the season. Like on the off season, they barely see each other. And then they're like, okay, time to act, you know? And I feel
that's kind of what Countess Luann said.
Yeah.
So she's from the Real Housewives of New York City. And she was on this podcast back in December. But I think we asked, like, you know, who do you hang out or talk to? And from her cast, and she named a few people, but she goes, oh, I don't see the women until like we start filming again, like we take a break.
No, I know. Other. And honestly, like it makes me question my love for reality TV, because I'm a huge Bravo girly. Like I just love it. I just find human behavior and psychology to be so interesting, and people are in such unique positions when they're put on TV shows and made to act this way, especially reoccurring cast members. Like, for example, Ariana, who got cheated on by someone she was with for 10 years, basically like the whole time of the show. Well, yeah, in real life, if she got cheated on, yeah, she can move on. But in a setting of a reality TV show, things are so much more complicated.
Because she has to film with her ex.
Exactly. And that's not normal to ever have to do. So it puts her mental health at risk. And there's just a lot of layers and complexities that come with it. And I think once the public knows what's happening behind the scenes and the strategy of it all, and like how producers come into play, people don't feel good about watching it anymore. And that's what's like sucks about it. And that's how I'm feeling right now, because after doing the reality TV show, I'm like, holy shit, sometimes it can be so toxic behind the scenes that now I'm like, when I watch it, I'm like, ugh, like I see right through certain things, and I'm like, damn, that's sad.
Well, what was super interesting about the reunion is that the fact that Lala and Sheena were willing to kind of like toss Ariana under the bus, and Katie. Mm-hmm. And I think about like when you're in a reality TV show bubble, and you want to do what's best for the show.
Yeah.
How like friendships and those sort of relationships can deteriorate. I feel like I've talked about this before, about how on our season of Love is Blind, there was a cast member who I was really close to, mm-hmm. like would say shit about me in front of the cameras. And I asked her why. And she's like, oh, like producers asked me to. And I was like, but we're friends. Like, why do you keep doing it? And it was really to kind of like save herself, mm-hmm. the way she was explaining it to me. And I remember just being like, what the fuck? Like, yeah. I would never do that to you. But I realized like some people will really just look out for themselves.
Yeah. It's hard because there's also producers in their ear, like constantly being like, you're going to get a bad edit. You're going to be the villain. Like, if you don't act like this or say this, then it's going to make you look a certain way. You know, when you have that behind your ear too, it's so hard. But you and I never wavered from being who we were. And we're like, we're never going to talk shit like that.
I mean,
well, I didn't.
ATA, I was. Well, ATA, I changed a little bit.
You were triggered by people. There was a lot going on.
I know, and that's what I get pissed about in ATA. And I was like, you know, who triggered me before those scenes, which forced me to talk. But hey, I won't get into it. But here's the thing about that person is she was being told she was going to get a Lauren and Cameron edit, mm-hmm. and I think she felt like to keep that up, she was going to toss some people under the bus. And I remember it took me such a long time to forgive her for it, because I was like, I had your back when you needed it. Mm-hmm. You still chose a good edit over your friendship with me.
Yeah.
And I think those are also the complexities of reality TV, knowing that you signed up for something that is being seen by millions and millions of people, and people are going to dissect people are going to dissect your actions and words. And you want to make sure you get like the best edit possible for yourself, right? Like, because you start thinking about like, how is the world going to see me? Will this impact my job opportunities? Mm-hmm. Like, are people going to judge my family? I need to make sure that I don't, I get a good edit so like my family isn't impacted by that as well.
Yeah.
And what's that line of looking out for yourself, but also being a good friend?
Yeah.
And that's what sucks. And that was really eye-opening for me to go through that of like, holy shit, friendship doesn't matter in this moment.
No, because at the end of the day, even thinking about Vanderpump, like all those people have been on screen so much because they know what comes with being on a TV show. And that is the internet's opinions, like other people weighing in on what you're doing and like highlighting your insecurities. And sometimes when you're up against the internet, your friend is not going to win. And also when you taste money and you get fame, it's like those are drugs and they will make you act a different way as if you were in like just a regular corporate job. It's just way different, you know, because there's just so many layers to it. And yeah, I kind of feel sad because I've been watching Vanderpump my entire, you know, last 11 years, 11 seasons of it.
You grew up with it.
I grew up with it.
Well, I started in my 20s and here I am.
And listen, let me just tell you, they were a shit show the entire time.
Oh yeah. I remember watching a few episodes being like, what the F? It was like escape from my boring ass corporate life.
Yes.
And I was like, let me see what's like really happening on the other end of the world.
Exactly.
Or the continent.
And now I'm with the public saying, you know, this sucks and the show has come to an end, because back when I used to watch it, people were like just totally themselves, and now it's so like calculated in how they act, and I'm like, this is so boring, because I know you guys are too seasoned to be on this show now. You're too smart to be on this show.
But don't you feel like that's natural? Like when we filmed ATA after our season of Love is Blind came out, don't you feel like we became a little bit more calculated? Absolutely. I feel like I saw this with season 4's ATA as well.
Yeah.
After really talking to the season 4 Love is Blind cast, where there was so much happening behind the scenes and so much drama, but they all became smarter after doing, you know, their first filming experience, and they're like, we're going to stay out of the drama.
Yeah. And you also ask for the right amount of compensation. All of those things come into play. But I do remember filming ATA. We had a different producer than I had for Love is Blind. And my mental health was really struggling, because I was like, again, your producer relationship matters so much, because I was not close to this producer. So I was just like in limbo mode of like, holy shit, like, are you guys gonna make me look bad? Like, I'm a good person, don't make me look bad. Like,
yeah.
But I was scared of that. The producer relationship that I had on ATA scared me a lot more, because I was like so in limbo mode with everything, because I didn't know what the outcome would be, and I didn't even know my own feelings. So like I was like, with how Kyle. Are they going to
edit this pretty much.
Edit this. Yeah, exactly. And that was a tough thing with Kyle.
I remember how like also cast dynamics changed when we filmed ATA, where everyone was like super kind with each other. I remember I was kind of like forcing people to pick sides between Shayna and I at that point. And it was just like super complicated. It was just like messy. And I remember like thinking like, okay, I have to be like super strategic with this. And obviously it fell like it wasn't in my favor ultimately, because I guess you just never know the power of editing. And just never know. I remember like all of you guys having my back, and none of that footage made it into ATA.
That one liner at the very end. Yeah. That was wild. But again, the power. But yeah, I couldn't even imagine being on 11 seasons, and every season the dynamic changes, things happen, people break up, new girlfriends, new boyfriends coming into play. Like, that's a lot.
Like, I remember in ATA we had an opinion about a certain cast member, and we just couldn't say it, because we were like, oh, it's just like we couldn't be honest with it, because I think we like went through already one round of filming, and we know how like words could be taken out of context. I mean, I wasn't that smart, obviously, because but like, you know, we had an idea of like, okay, we have to stay like kind of like neutral.
Yeah.
Like
and also I think we realized the impact the internet has on us too. And it's like our words can really impact someone's mental health and what other people say about them too. I think that was a big factor for us too.
Yeah.
Truly. Well, let us know if you guys read the New Yorker article. I found it very interesting. It's pretty long, but very insightful. But you know where to reach us on our Instagram page at Out of the Pods.
And make sure you leave a review and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.
Bye.